welcome to Tales of Honor Podcast, a podcast dedicated to telling the true stories of every recipient of the Medal of Honor. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tales of Honor Podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and I am sick, if you cannot tell by my voice. I've been in bed all day with a fever, a cough, just nasty stuff. Probably picked it up in one of the great airports I was in this past weekend, coming back from Disney. So I'm going to muscle through this episode, and hopefully by the next episode, I'll be all better. And now, a tale of honor. William was born in Chicago, Illinois, on the 14th of May, 1921. He grew up in Hammond, Indiana, and enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve on the 6th of June, 1938. 2 years later, he was activated and deployed to the South and Central Pacific during World War II. When his enlistment was over, he re-enlisted in the active Marine Corps and served on the USS Mount McKinley during atomic bomb tests at Bikini Atoll. William then served at the Naval Gun Factory in Washington, D.C. as the non-commissioned officer of the Guard, as well as at the Marine Corps headquarters in China. When the Korean War began, William, also known as Windy Bill, was a staff sergeant at Camp Pendleton, California, and was part of the first group of Marines to deploy and see combat in Korea. It was his actions as a 29-year-old platoon sergeant during the Chosin Reservoir campaign that would cost him his life and earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, as Platoon Sergeant of Company I, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division Reinforced, in action against enemy aggressor forces in the vicinity of Udam-ni, Korea, the night of 1 December 1950. Promptly organizing a squad of men when the enemy launched a sudden, vicious counterattack against the forward elements of his company's position, rendering it untenable, Staff Sergeant Windrich, armed with a carbine, spearheaded the assault to the top of the knoll, immediately confronting the overwhelming force and, under shattering hostile automatic weapons, mortar, and grenade fire, directed effective fire to hold back the attackers and cover the withdrawal of our troops to commanding ground. With 7 of his men struck down during the ferocious attack and he, himself wounded in the head by a bursting grenade, he made his way to the company's position and, organizing a small group of volunteers, returned with them to evacuate the wounded and dying from the frozen hillside, staunchly refusing medical attention himself. Immediately redeploying the remainder of his troops, Staff Sergeant Windrich placed himself on the left flank of the defensive sector before the enemy again attacked in force. Wounded in the leg during the bitter fight that followed, he bravely fought on with his men, shouting words of encouragement and directing their fire until the attack was repelled. Refusing evacuation, although unable to stand, he still continued to direct his platoon in setting up defensive positions until, weakened by the bitter cold, excessive loss of blood, and severe pain, he lapsed into unconsciousness and died. His valiant leadership, fortitude, and courageous fighting spirit against tremendous odds served to inspire others to heroic endeavor in holding the objective and reflect the highest credit upon Staff Sergeant Windrich and the United States Naval Service. He gallantly gave his life for his country. In addition to this battle, William also took part in the Incheon landing and the capture of Seoul. He had originally been buried at the bottom of the hill, but in 1955, his body had been identified and recovered and brought home to the States. William Gordon Windrich is buried in Arlington National Cemetery, Section 31, Lot 4856, Grid AA/35. And that was a tale of honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor Podcast. Head on over to talesofhonorpodcast.com where you can read these stories, see other ways to support the show, and easily share a story with your friends and family. Tales of Honor Podcast is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme song, A New Beginning, is by Ben Sound. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, I'm Christoph Ambrosch. Thanks for listening.